Section 2, Ethics, Law, and Rules. Learning objectives. At the end of this section, students should be able to name and give the citation of the law that governs registration and certification of property tax professionals, identify the state agency that registers and certifies property tax professionals, list the categories of property tax professionals who must register with the TDLR, define rule and explain the effect that a TDLR rule has on a registrant, and be able to read Texas tax code numbers. The Property Tax Professional Certification Act.
Go.
The Act, the Texas Occupations Code, Chapter 1151, is the law that requires certain government officials in the property tax profession to register and obtain certification. The Act refers generally to those who must register as property tax professionals. In this course, we will use the terms registrant to refer to a person who has registered under the law. The Act has 5 primary purposes. Authorizes the TDLR to regulate property tax professionals, authorizes TDLR to adopt ethical standards for those who register, requires registration with TDLR, authorizes TDLR to discipline registrants who fail to comply with ethical standards, and authorizes TDLR to take action to prevent unregistered persons from holding positions that require registration. TDLR. TDLR is a Texas state agency responsible for licensing and regulating a number of different Texas professions. TDLR tracks certification courses, administers certification examinations, and tracks registrant continuing education hours for renewal purposes. Registration with TDLR. Registration means making TDLR officially aware that the person who registers is working in the property tax profession for a governmental agency, such as an appraisal district or tax office. To register, the person must file a registration application and fee with TDLR and meet its requirements. Registration must be renewed every year. TDLR registrants must take required courses, pass examinations, and achieve certification within 3 to 5 years, depending on their certification area. Certification means that the registrant passed all of the TDLR requirements. Who is required to register? Chief appraisers. The chief appraiser is the chief administrator of an appraisal district. An appraisal district is a special purpose local government that appraises property for property tax purposes. Appraisal district appraisers and staff who recommend values to appraisal review boards. The chief appraiser employs staff to help carry out appraisal and administrative responsibilities. A staff member or contractor who appraises property must register with TDLR. An appraisal review board is an independent board that hears and determines disputes related to property valuation. An appraisal district staff member who recommends values to an ARB by appearing in a hearing before the board must register with the TDLR. Chief administrators of tax offices other than a county assessor collector, the various local governments, cities, school districts, junior college districts, and various special purpose districts that levy property taxes created tax offices to collect their property taxes. A local government may have its own office, may participate with others in a consolidated office, may use the services of the county assessor collector's office, or may contract with a private firm to collect its taxes. Neither the Act nor TDLR rules specify who is considered a chief administrator, but anyone who is designated by the local government as responsible for the operation of a tax office is likely to be considered a chief administrator. Mention that county TACs and their staff were accepted out of this requirement by legislation. TACs are tax assessor collectors, right?
Probably, yeah. This must be a instructor's book.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tax office employees that the chief administrator requires to register. The law only requires a chief administrator to register if the chief administrator chooses. He or she may require any of their employees to register. If so, the Act requires that employees do register. Or the Act requires that employees to register. That doesn't make sense. Anyway.
That's okay. Either one works.
Failure to register is a Class C misdemeanor. registrants are bound to follow TDLR rules. Texas Occupations Code Chapter 1151 and Texas Local Government Code Chapter 51 give TDLR the power to enforce the law, its ethical standards, and its rules. TDLR can enforce these through refusal to register, canceling registration for failure to progress, suspending or revoking registration, probation, fines, and/or injunctive action. Persons must register, achieve certification, and be recertified annually. TDLR may grant extensions, recognize breaks in service, and permit a license to be placed on an inactive status under TDLR rules in Texas Occupations Code Section 1151.160.
160.
Okay. Is that better?
That's better.
TDLR rules. A rule is a type of law that is enacted by a state agency. State agencies follow a prescribed set of legal procedures to enact rules. The process includes publishing proposed rules in a publication called the Texas Register, taking and responding to any public comments, and final adoption by the governing board of the agency. The total collection of all state agency rules is called the Texas Administrative Code. It is divided into titles, chapters, and sections with specific chapters assigned to specific state agencies. The TDLR rules relating to property tax professionals are found in Texas Administrative Code Title 16, Chapter 94. They include the Code of Ethics, a set of principles for ethical conduct, and rules related to registration and education. TDLR procedural rules relate to enforcement actions and are found in Texas Administrative Code Title 16, Chapter 60.